Hi, I'm Jarrad Brown, Australian expat financial planner based here in Singapore, and welcome to my video series where we tackle some of the tough personal finance questions for Aussies all over the world. Today we're touching on the morbid topic of who gets my superannuation when I die, if and when I die. It's a common question we're asked by many of our clients and Australians all over the world, and it's one of those areas that there are a lot of myths and mistakes often made. So here today we're going to tackle exactly that question, what you need to think about, and who can get your superannuation. So let's dive right in. Now the first thing to be very mindful of with your superannuation is that it is not covered by your will. Now the simple reason for this is because your will covers your estate, which is your personal assets. Now you might think your superannuation is yours, and you would largely be correct, but the subtle difference is your superannuation is kept in trust for your retirement. And that's why you need to have a separate nomination in place to your superannuation, outlining exactly where you would like your super to be paid. So what exactly is this nomination, and how do you go about completing one? Now there are three main types of nominations that you can put into place when it comes to your superannuation. The first is a binding, non-lapsing nomination. Now, as the name suggests, binding means that the trustees of the super fund must adhere to your wishes, and non-lapsing means that it doesn't expire. Now, the good part about that is you can almost forget all about it. The bad part is you don't have a constant reminder to check that it actually reflects your current wishes. Is your ex-partner still on your superannuation account? Grandchildren, children, partners of your children, other dependents? It's important to review this on a regular basis. The next type is what they call a non-binding, non-lapsing nomination. Now, non-binding means that the trustees still have some discretion and your wishes could be challenged. They will take your wishes into account, but they are not bound by them. So this is rarely suitable, but again, important to seek some personal advice here because it may be suitable for your own circumstances. And the third type is what they call a binding, lapsing nomination. Now, a lapsing nomination will typically lapse every 3 years, which means that you or your advisor need to make sure that this is constantly up to date. Most super funds will offer the non-lapsing version, but it is important to review your options. Now, the next important question is who can I actually nominate to get my superannuation? So the first is a spouse, partner. This can be de facto, same-sex couples, where you are living in a relationship together. That way your spouse would typically receive your superannuation tax-free. The next is financially dependent children, and this can be stepchildren, adopted children, any children in your household up to the age of 18 or above potentially, but you do need to be careful about tax implications here. And the third is anyone that you're in a financially interdependent relationship with. Somebody who is financially dependent on your existence. You can nominate them to receive your superannuation. Now, what if the person or group that you want to receive your super is not one of these options? One of the ways around this is to instead nominate your estate and therefore make sure that your will outlines exactly how you would like your super to be paid out. This might be to a charity, to someone who's not financially dependent on you, to another association, or something completely different. Often nominating your estate will be the simplest way around this. So we've covered who can get your super, we've covered how to ensure that they do get your super and that your wishes are carried out. The third item, and in some ways the most important, are the intricacies of these nominations. Different tax rates can apply depending on whether they're dependents or independent of you. Different rules can apply around binding and non-binding nominations. It is important to seek advice here, but most importantly, make sure your nominations are up to date and make sure that your will, your estate planning reflects your current wishes. Don't just assume that it's all up to date. Don't put the will in the bottom drawer and forget all about it. Make sure you're reviewing this, or at least your advisor's reviewing this with you at least every couple of years or when your circumstances change. I hope that's been helpful. I hope that's shed a bit of light on who gets your superannuation if and when you pass away. If you have any questions or anything to add, please drop a note in the comments. If you have any suggestions for future topics you'd like us to cover, let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you very much for tuning in, and see you next time.